I think this is about to be Gordon's favorite video yet because today we're going to be reviewing and trying out 7 different brands of lickable cat treats. He can't wait to get started. So before we talk about the specific cat treats that Gordon sampled for today's video, let's talk about cat nutrition, and let me just nerd out a bit on cat nutrition labels and some things to keep in mind. So first, let's talk about calories. I know everyone's favorite subject. So according to the World Small Animal Veterinary Committee, a 4.5 kilogram or 10-pound cat should be eating between 240 to 270 calories per day. So let's call it about 250 for round numbers. Additionally, it's recommended by the Cornell College of Veterinary Medicine and other veterinary sources that I could find that it's recommended to keep calories from treats to under about 10 to 15% of overall calories in a cat's diet. So let's call it about 10% to be safe. So what that means is for a 10-pound cat, they really should not be eating more than 25 calories of treats per day. So definitely keep that in mind when we're looking at the calorie counts of the treats that I'm going to be reviewing with you all. Another thing to keep in mind is that cats are obligate carnivores. So when you're looking at the ingredient list of your cat food, it's best to choose foods that have things like meat, seafood, or meat and seafood byproducts as the top few ingredients listed on the label. Additionally, cats are obligate carnivores, and so what that means is that carbohydrates are not really doing them many favors when it comes to their diet. So if your cat is struggling with extra pounds, then you're going to want to try to find treats that are not only lower calorie, but also lower in the carbohydrate percentage and carbohydrate ingredients. So unfortunately, this can be harder than it looks, but there are some ways that you can go about estimating how many carbs are in your cat's food. So the first is looking for carbohydrate-based ingredients. So if you see starchy ingredients like tapioca starch or potatoes, that is a starchy ingredient, and having that higher up in the ingredient list means that a larger percentage of your cat's food is coming from those starches. Additionally, there are some ways that you can estimate the percentage of carbohydrates that are in your cat's food. So if you've looked at a cat nutrition label recently, you'll know that there's a few things you can expect to see. So you'll see a percentage for crude protein and fat. Those are listed as minimum percentages. And then you'll also see a maximum percentage for fiber and moisture. However, normally if you add up all of those numbers together, they usually do not add up to 100%. There's usually a mystery few percentages that are not accounted for in the numbers. And typically what those few percentages are is they're typically accounted for by ash, which is basically minerals, and then also carbohydrates. So unfortunately, most of cat food brands do not list out a differentiation between carbohydrates and minerals. So you can assume the remaining percentages is basically carbohydrates plus ash. Of course, that may not be 100% true because there could be some fluctuations of the minimum ingredients. Like there could be a little bit more protein than what they're saying because it is listed as a minimum, but it's a good way to approximate and compare some of these brands to each other. And of course, I'll talk all about that when we talk about each of the brands individually. First on the list, let's talk about Nulo Freestyle. There's a lot to like about this option. So this comes in a variety pack, and this I got for $9.99 for a pack of 10, so about $1 per individual treat. Now, the nutrition on this one, I would say is more, it's a bit of a more calorie-rich, protein-rich treat. So I would say this is best if your cat is maybe underweight or could stand to have a few extra calories in their diet. So this is the highest calorie option of 9 calories, at least for the beef and sardine recipe. It's slightly different for each of their different flavors. This also has the tied for highest crude protein percentage. So that's also great to see that. And the top 3 ingredients are all meat-based ingredients. So we have beef broth, beef, and sardines. So great to see those as the top 3 ingredients. That's probably why the protein percentage is so high on this. However, I will say that the carbohydrate percentage is a little bit higher than average as well. So the carbohydrate plus ash percentage is approximately 3.2%. Again, this is an approximation because some of these numbers are minimums and maximums, and we don't have the carbohydrate and ash breakdown like explicitly. But the average of all the treats was 2.3%, and this one was a bit higher at 3.2%. So just something to keep in mind, this is probably not your option if you have an overweight cat. Next on the list, we have Tiki Cat. This one I was particularly excited for because Gordon's normal food brand is Tiki Cat, so I was hoping that he might like this one as well. We tried the chicken and shrimp flavor, but they have 5 flavors available, so a lot of different options. That being said, this one is on a little bit more expensive side. So this was $6.86 for 6, so about $1.14 each. However, this one had a really good nutrient profile. I would say this is probably the top 2 for just the nutrition profile that I saw. So the top 3 ingredients for the Tiki Cat treats are chicken broth, chicken, and dried egg, so all animal-based products, so great to see that. Additionally, the nutrient profile was really good on this one. So this is 8 calories, so a little bit on the higher side, but not quite as high as the Nulo Freestyle treats. It also had 8% crude protein, so again, tied for first place for crude protein percentage, but it also had a much lower percentage than the Nulo Freestyle for potential carbohydrates. So the carbohydrate plus ash percentage was only 1.5%. So this is lower than the average and one of the lowest ones that we tried. So I think this is a really good option, and this is probably one that I will be gravitating to again if I'm looking for more treats for Gordon. Next, we tried these Catit treats, and I think the takeaway of these ones is these are a lower calorie but more affordable option. So these come in 2 flavors. We got the salmon flavor, and it's also a more affordable option than some of the last ones we talked about. So this was $9.02 for a pack of 12, so that made them 72 cents each. So these were 4.6 calories per tube, which made them one of the lowest calorie options of what we talked about. But the flip side of that is these were also the lowest protein option. So these only had 5% crude protein, which is the lowest protein of any of the treats that we tried. So because of that, I think this is just sort of a less nutrient dense treat option. So it may be good if you're just looking for something low calorie, but if you want something that has a higher protein percentage and just more nutrients for your cat, this may not be the best option. And I think another thing I don't love about this one is the top 3 ingredients do include a starchy ingredient. So we have water, salmon, and tapioca starch. So I don't love that. But even with that, the carbohydrate percentage is still not too bad. It's only about 2% of the carbohydrate plus ash percentage. So this one's okay, not my favorite, but Gordon enjoyed it. He enjoyed all of them. So yeah, I'm not sure if he really could tell the difference. Next, let's talk about Fussie cats. This is another one that is not my favorite when it came to the nutrient profile, but there are some things that I do like about this one. So this has a lot of flavors. This had 10 different flavors to choose from, so I think that's a great thing about the Fussie cat brand. Also, the price is on the more affordable side. It is under $1 per treat, so it was $3.49 for 4, so 87 cents each. And the calorie count is kind of middle of the road. It's about 7.7 calories. But what I did not like about these particular treats is the carbohydrate plus ash percentage is really high. It's about 6%. And of course, we don't know what percentage of that is ash. It could be a higher percentage of minerals in this, but we don't really know what it is. It's not published on their nutrition facts label. So I think especially if your cat is overweight, I would probably not recommend this Fussie cat option, and I would go for one of the options that has maybe lower calorie or lower carbohydrate or both. Next, we tried the Delectables cat treats, and I'm gonna be honest, this is probably my #1 pick for all around best value, because not only is this one the most affordable option, but it also has one of the best nutrient profiles. It's right up there with Tiki Cat. It's even a little bit better than Tiki Cat. So I think this is a great option for all of those reasons. The only thing I don't love about this one is it doesn't have quite as many flavors as some of the other ones. So if your cat wants a lot of variety, then that could be a downside. But let's talk about the specifics. This one was only 60 cents per treat. I got a pack of 10 for only $6.04. So it is the most affordable on the list. And the nutrient profile is really pretty good. So the crude protein percentage is 8%. So again, tied for the highest of the ones we tried at 8%. Also, the approximate carbohydrate plus ash percentage was one of the lowest. It was the second lowest one that I saw at only 1.4%. So just a tiny bit lower than the Tiki Cat one, which was about 1.5%. Additionally, the calorie count was kind of middle of the pack at 7.4 calories. So I think this is a great all-around pick. I would definitely recommend the Delectables one. It may be one of the best options here. Next on the list, let's talk about these treats from Cafe Nära. These, I would say, are the absolute best if your cat is on a diet, because these are the lowest calorie of the ones we tried and also have the lowest carb percentage. So definitely great if you want to remove the risk factors as much as possible of your cat having excess weight gain. So let's talk about more of the specifics. So these ones I would say are a little bit more on the, more expensive side. So it was about $1 each. I got a pack of 4 for $3.99. Unfortunately, these ones I could only find come in 2 flavors. I got the tuna flavor. The texture was also nice and smooth. But really what the best factors of these Cafe Nära treats are the nutritional profile. So the calories are only 4.4 for a treat. So the lowest of the ones we tried. The protein though is still a respectable 7% crude protein. So that was the average of all the treats we tried, so that is still really great to see. And the carbohydrate plus ash percentage is only 0.5, so that is the lowest of all of the ones that we tried. So I think this is a really, really good option, especially if your cat is suffering from excess weight. And then finally, we tried these Churu cat treats. So these ones I would say are kind of middle of the road on most of the criteria that I was looking at. So these didn't really jump to the top and win any awards in my book, but I think these are definitely still a respectable option to feed your cat. And if I had these again, I would definitely give them to Gordon to have a little treat. So these ones, the price is 99 cents each, so sort of middle of the road. However, I will say one good thing about these is they do come in a lot of flavors. They come in 9 different flavors. I personally got the chicken and crab flavor recipe for Gordon. So these have 6 calories per treat, so it is below average of the ones we tried. This also had 7% minimum protein, and it also had 1.5% of carbohydrate plus ash percentage. So this one may not have been top of the list for anything, but definitely still a good all-around option with a lot of different flavor options. So definitely could be a good one to consider. Now at this point, I have fed Gordon these treats individually, and he seems to have really enjoyed all of them, but I really want to see which of these treats are actually the tastiest for my cat Gordon. So I'm going to put all of these treats out for him and just put a little sample. I don't want him to get sick with eating 7 treats at once, so I'll just put a little sample out for him and see which one he gravitates to more than the others to see if we actually have a winner of the treat taste test. Okay, we have all of the treats set up. It's really interesting to see some of the different textures. Like for example, this Nulo Freestyle definitely seems like the most watery consistency, as well as the Tiki Cat. Like these are much more of a watery consistency. Then the Churu one is kind of like in the middle. And then the ones that are firmest consistency are kind of, I think the Catit one, as well as the Delectable one. So it's really interesting to see that, but let's see when these are all placed out, which one Gordon likes the most. I'm gonna get in and I'll kind of walk him through before I let him start to taste them, but let's see. Okay, now he's just making it down the line. So Gordon is done with his taste test, and I think it's fair to say he really enjoyed all of these treats. I was really hoping he would gravitate towards one more than the others, but he basically just went down the line and ate all of them up. He did go for the Nulo Freestyle first, but I think that's just because that's what was right in front of him. So I think this is honestly a good sign though, because I think it means any of these treats are tasty options. At least Gordon seems to approve of all of them. So I think you really can't go wrong, and you can lean into making a decision based on price or nutrition or some of the other factors that we talked about in this video. So I hope you found this video helpful. Of course, we'll link everything we talked about down below. And if you have any questions or experience with these treats, I would love to know in the comments. Does your cat have a favorite, or is your cat like Gordon, meaning he will eat pretty much any treat in front of him? Let me know down in the comments, and until next time, bye.